Oh, a microphony.
And a phony at the mic.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
The Doctor of Discernment is now online.
You know, much like my show, in that it's a local reaction to things that are happening on a federal level.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Wow, do I have a boatload of stuff for you, from the crazy to the absurd. Let's start getting into it because, I mean, it is bizarro world out there. And I say, if it's obvious to me, should be obvious to everyone. Oh, wow. Who could have seen this coming?
This is the Fourth Hour with Greg Belfrage.
Hold on to your butts.
From the basement bunker beneath Kettle Radio, welcome to the Fourth Hour with Greg Belfrage. It's great to be with you this morning. This has been gnawing at me all day. This is a story I saw this morning at the New York Post. Mae Jemison is the first Black American, or first Black woman to go into space. And she was on CBS covering, you know, the all-female crew Blue Origin's flight yesterday, right? So what was it, like an 11-minute flight yesterday? And I thought it was a big deal. We shared some of the coverage with you yesterday. So Mae Jemison is on CBS, and she was asked by Vladimir Duthier. He said, explain to our audience, like even on a trip like this one, all the trips that we take into space benefit mankind. That was the question that he asked. She responds by saying, so it benefits humankind, and I'm going to keep correcting, she said. Wow. And he then, of course, immediately apologized. Humankind, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That, to me, is just absolutely, there are a lot of things that are going on this and here, and we'll unpack some of this. And the humankind in that, to me, is just absolutely crazy. And she went on, she said, well, apparently he continued. And then he corrected himself, it looks like, and the mankind and the man-made and the man missions, because this is exactly what this mission is about, is expanding the perspective of who does space. Humankind. I'm sorry. He then interjected, and then she said, why is space important? When you look at it, here's what actually happened, and this is why it has just been simmering with me all day long. Mankind, we understand that's not talking about men, right? You and I understand that. We have referred to man because we have man and woman, right? Mankind refers to everybody. We have been able for a long period of time to be able to refer to mankind, and it's understood that's not a slight to women. I mean, talking about the all-female crew, I think that's a big deal. There are some who don't, and I thought it was a big deal. That's why I shared the launch yesterday. But this, and what I think really is happening there in that moment, that you have Mae Jemison making it all about her, humankind, and she was refusing to continue until that was corrected. She was not going to answer the question until the question was rephrased. And I thought, man, talk about taking the spotlight away from those women who went into space yesterday, taking the spotlight away from them and putting it on yourself. And that, I think, is the real effect. And you see people do this all of the time. And I always find that frustrating. That, to me, was just incredibly insulting, and to and not only to do that, but then to embarrass him on CBS. He's a host of CBS. To embarrass him in front of his audience in that way, I'll tell you what, I'd never stand for it. And then he's apologizing. Wow. So now he's groveling in front of his audience. I would never do that. That would just, I would not refuse. I would say, I'm sorry if you're under the impression that responding to mankind is somehow an insult to women. It is not. Men and women we're all mankind. That to me is just crazy. That is just, and it's typical of what's going on. I'm going to steal the spotlight that should be on these female astronauts, because that's what they were doing. That's what they were covering. They were covering the launch of these, female astronauts, and I think this was during the portion that they were up in space. So they blasted off. They're off into space. It's about an 11-minute flight. And so they're making small talk until they return, and she makes that comment. That to me is just, I would never accept it. And I think that's a problem then with some of the networks. I just have a growing distaste for television. And this is part of the reason, the way the media covers these things. It's just absolutely incredible. Also, I wanted to share a little bit of video. We had President Bukele of visiting with the president yesterday. This is El Salvador's President Bukele a meeting with President Trump. And I want to share this. It's fairly short. I want to make sure you can hear it. I boosted the audio up, but hopefully you'll be able to hear him very clearly. He's fairly soft-spoken, but I appreciate what he's saying here.
It's an honor to be here in the Oval Office with the president and leader of the free world. We're very happy, and we're very eager to help. We know that you have a crime problem.
You have a crime problem.
And we're a small country, but if we can help, we can do it. And we actually turned the murder capital of the world, that was the journalists call it, right? Murder capital of the world, into the safest country in the Western Hemisphere. And, sometimes they say that we imprisoned thousands. I like to say that we actually liberated millions. So
this guy's brilliant.
It's very good. Who gave him that line? Do you think I can use that?
Yes. And in fact, Mr. President, you have 350 million people to liberate. Yeah. But to liberate 350 million people, you have to imprison some.
You have to imprison some, he said.
Just, free the criminals and think crime's going to go down magically. You have to imprison them so you can liberate 350 million Americans that are asking for the end of crime and the end of terrorism.
It's a totally unique way of looking at this.
And I'm sure that people have seen the change in the streets. A long way to go, because you're just initiating your second term.
I mean, that is absolutely incredible what he's saying. And also, he tweeted last night, I miss you already, President T. Pretty cool. And Trump had referred to him as President B in a post on True Social. So he responded, I miss you already, President T. That was a meeting of the two yesterday, and I really appreciate what he was saying about, taking that tough stance on crime, right? So that you can liberate the rest of your citizens. What incredible way to phrase that. I don't know that I have heard that. So saying that while you're incarcerating some people in El Salvador, you're doing that so that the remaining citizens can enjoy their freedom. and you're liberating those folks. Wow, absolutely incredible. And again, I'm sure he is going to be demonized by the legacy media in this country because that's what they're good at. That's what they do to President Trump. That's what they do to folks in his administration. That's what they do to Elon Musk. That's what they do to everyone who gets in their way, who opposes them and their worldview. I thought you might appreciate what he had to say with President Trump yesterday. Also, we've got more warnings now from China. Top Chinese official warning today that the president's extremely shameless tariff war would backfire soon. So this is a senior Chinese official saying this. The U.S. isn't after our tariffs, but our very survival. The U.S. has repeatedly contained and suppressed Hong Kong. That's an absolute joke. And this will eventually backfire on itself. So you got China reacting. I wanted to show this photo. Take a look at this. This is by design. And Make America Great Again. And I guarantee you those hats, I don't know who's selling those. But I have previously purchased Make America Great Again materials directly from Trump. Those are all made in America. These are made in China. And so I'm really disappointed in the New York Post because this is where this photo appears. They're trying to show, the Make America Great Again hats, Trump is having them made in China. No, that's the suggestion. That's not true. Absolutely untrue. I want to make sure you're aware of that. But you see that here how the media operates, and tries to undermine what Trump is doing. Those are not from the Trump campaign. I would guarantee these are others who are jumping on board and they're selling these materials. Pretty incredible stuff. All right, let's talk for a few moments about CNN because the president yesterday had the presser that I just shared with you between Donald Trump and the president of El Salvador. The president at one time, he was very frustrated by CNN throughout. And he mentioned that. He was very critical of CNN. And he said CNN did not love America. And so the CNN afterward felt the need to actually correct this. This is Dana Bash saying, no, CNN loves America.
Reporters, Jeff Zeleny, I want to start with you. You are at the White House. Before I get to you, I just want to say, for the record, since we heard President Trump say in the Oval Office that CNN hates our country, CNN does not hate our country. That should go without saying. I've been here for 32 years, and I see a rhetorical device in him trying to say such a thing.
So the network actually has to go on and say, no, we don't hate America. Got to reassure the 100 viewers at CNN that you don't hate America. Oh, man, that is just too rich. I got to tell you, I just absolutely love that. And I shared some of this with you on the air this morning, but this is worth sharing again. Wendy's getting some love, and I'll give them some love because they were on social media and taking aim at Katy Perry after the Blue Origin space flight, can we send her back? And they were not done here. They were not done with that. They continued. Let's get down to here we go. Can we send her back? Then they also reposted photos of Katy Perry kissing the ground and they tweeted, I kissed the ground and I liked it, referencing her song, I Kissed a Girl and I Liked It. Didn't stop there. After one person pointed out that Perry and her crewmates had been in space for a total of 10 minutes, Wendy's then sarcastically tweeted back, don't shortchange her. It was 11 minutes. So Wendy's, I think, getting a little bit of those stories were actually trending, and folks started piling up, and I thought it was pretty funny to see some of those things. Okay, I want to take a look at comments here before I leave. Steve's working on spreadsheets. My apologies to you, Steve. Sorry to hear that. Steve said, I really don't enjoy people that get this pedantic. They think they're so smart, but really just look like an ass, as we're talking about May Debitson, I think is her name. The first Black woman in space. I'm scrolling past the weather reports. Why do you guys love telling each other how much the temperature is at wherever you're located? Edgy is saying Trump and Bukele are kind of comparable to the typical buddy cops. I thought it was funny how he said he missed him after he left. Yeah, absolutely right. Buddy cops, that's a great way. I think you're spot on there. David said, this is why we need our own sources for resources. Biden and Clinton made several national monuments to restrict access. Yeah, as we were talking about, China and the resources that we get from China. Yeah, Steve says Wendy's on X can be brutal. Is that true? I'm on X, but I'm not on X. You know what I mean? I'm on it very infrequently. I just don't, beyond what I do on Facebook primarily. I'm really not on social media all that much. All right. Thanks so much for being here today. That's going to be a wrap from the bunker. So you're still here. You're part of my gallery of champions. I want to say thank you so much to you. And I'm underground and gone.